Also, we'll be planning our goals for 23. So immediately after class, we'll have a short presentation, and then after that, we'll have dinner prasadam downstairs. Okay. So thank you again, everyone, for joining. So you kindly request everyone, if you can kindly move forward, because we always have people walking during the class. So particularly we want to leave space so they come and sit behind. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, we got a full crowd today, full house. It's nice. In spite of the inclement weather, that shows everyone's determination. Okay, so we are going to give a class on the Upanishad, but I'll describe what that is after we chant Jai Radha Madhava. Let me just hold on a second. There's nothing to see right now. You just see me in a picture. Now you could see me live, so you don't have to see it. Okay. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopijana Balaba Kiribaru Dahudi Gopijana Balaba Kiribaru Dahudi Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Panachare Yamuna Tera Panachare Jai Urad Umadava Kunya Bihare Jai Urad Umadava Kunya Bihare Gopijana Vallabha Irivarudhare Gopijana Vallabha Irivarudhare Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Manachari Yamunate Banachate Jai Radho Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radho Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Pranamahansa Paravitakacharya also Teta Sajashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopinath Shaya Makunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuram Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Saveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamani Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharni, Nivashesha Srinivadi Paschat Dejatarni. So Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakya Chakshur Unmeditam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So today, we are going to complete the Shriya Sopanishad. So for those of you who don't know, every day let me share the screen first. Every day at 5 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, or during the summer, Eastern Daylight Time, we have a class in some spiritual literature, and we read together. In other words, I read, but you can read on the screen. And I share the screen with everybody, and they can learn the philosophy of Krishna consciousness and learn about the pastimes of Krishna, pastimes of Prabhupada, and there's so many nice things to learn about. So you're all invited to join us, and if you're interested in joining us for this daily class, anytime you want to come, there's no tests. You don't have to get an anxiety. We don't test people. In fact, at the end of class, people test me because they ask me questions. It's called Stump the Swami. And they ask some very good questions. So it's interactive. So it's really nice. And at least the last portion is interactive. So if you're interested in joining and going on the WhatsApp notification list, see Aditya Narayan Prabhu or Leela Shakti over here and just give them your number if you're on WhatsApp and say you want to join and be notified. It's also on YouTube and Facebook simulcasting. So just so if you don't want to go on Facebook because it's too much social networking for you, then you can join us without anybody finding out you're online on Facebook, on YouTube, if you like. Okay. So now we will go to the Upanishad. Now, what is the Upanishad anyway? I think I need to describe that. There's 108 principal Upanishads, but what are the Upanishads? The word Upanishad basically means to come closer, basically come closer to Krishna and the spiritual master. And as Krishna states in the Gita, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Isn't it? Upadekshanti te gyanas gyaninas tatvadarshava. That if you want to learn the truth, you got to come closer. But not just come closer physically, that gets a little uncomfortable. Don't come too close, but at least wear a mask if you're coming closer that way. But come closer in the sense of hearing. Shushusho Shradanasha Vasudeva Kataruchi. And that's how you have to come close to Krishna as representative, because Krishna's instructions or the presence of a devotee are manifest in what's called the Vani. Vani means words or sound vibration. So that's how one comes closer. So these Upanishads are actually part of the Shruti mantras of the Vedic literatures. For those of you who don't know what Shruti means, it means to hear. But generally, for those who are students of Vedic literatures, of course, the word Vedic means knowledge, just to let you know. So those who are students of Vedic literature know that when you say the Vedas, generally, well, actually, you're referring to a large body of literature, but according to some academicians, it refers to the four Vedas, the Rig, the Atharva, Sama, and Yajur Veda. And the Rig Veda is a Veda of different hymns. And the Atharva Veda has a lot of different, like, mantras for weapons. If you want to learn how to fire the Brahmastra weapon, if you do, let me know, because we could use your help in Ukraine right now, if you know how to fire that. So anyway, so things like that. And then the Sama, like the music Veda, like this. So there are these four Vedas. Yajur Veda, of course, is the Veda of the sacrifices, like you've seen, like havens or fire sacrifices, Swaha, Om this, Swaha, Om that, Swaha, Om, Swaha. So that's something like that. I mean, it gets more complicated. There's many, many rules and regulations for sacrifice. So many scholars would only consider the four, what they call the original Vedas, to be Vedic. But actually, in the Rig Veda, there is a interesting Sanskrit verse. It says, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Pada Pashanti Surya. That's first verse. I'm going to recite two verses. All the Vedas are looking for Krishna. And then Itihasha Purananam, Panchama Veda Uchate. That in these four Vedas, it mentions that there's additional Vedas, which are called the fifth Veda. You got the 4, 5, and now those include what's called the Itihasa. Now, for those of you who don't know what Itihasa means, it means thus it happened. In other words, history. Like there's the American Itihasa, right? There's the woke Itihasa. Probably none of you know what I'm talking about. Is the Indian Itihasa, the modern Indian Itihasa. But specifically, we're referring to the histories such as the Mahabharata and also the Valmiki Ramayana. So those are called Itihasas. And then Puranas. Puranas means things like, not things, but literatures, like the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishnu Purana, Kurma Purana. And there's 18 major Puranas. 6 are for people who are in ignorance. Don't ask me about them. 6 are for people in passion. Don't ask me about those either. And 6 are for those who are in goodness, who aspire to rise to the point of goodness. Now, even spiritual goodness, which is higher than material goodness, because in material goodness, you're just like satisfied. I was talking to someone today. He said, I'm in goodness. I don't feel like doing anything. He may be ignorant too. So anyway, those are the Puranas. So let's go back to the Upanishads, which are actually accepted by all Vedic scholars as part of the Vedic knowledge. And so that's why we are reciting this Ishopanishad, and that's why this is one of the Prabhupada accepted this Ishopanishad as one of the first literatures that he translated into English, in addition to the Bhagavad Gita. So Ishopanishad, Isha means what? Does anyone know? God, like Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarna Karnam. It means the controller, basically. And where do you find God? Everywhere. Where else? What? His abode where? Where's his abode? What other abodes? The Vaikuntha planets. He's in your heart. He's in every atom. Anantarastam Paramanu Chayantarastam. Govindamadi Purusham. You find him everywhere, but you don't see him. Why don't you see him? Because you don't want to. If you wanted to see him, you would see him. If you actually wanted to see him, because the problem with seeing God, and it is a problem to see God, because then you'd have to serve him. So, I don't want to see God. Don't tell me about God. Don't spoil my stay in this material world. I want to think Ishwaroham, Aham Bogi. Is that Sirohan? Balavan Suki. I want to think that I am the center. And my whole life and all my family and everything is the center. So basically, the reason people don't see God is because you don't want to. Because Krishna reciprocates. He says, what? Yetamam prapajante tam satavi tayapa pajamayaham mamavartmanu vartante manusha partha sarvasha. That I just reciprocate with everybody. If you want to see me, I'm there. If you don't want to see me, matak smritir jnanamaponam cha. I'll give you forgetfulness. Or there's so many naham prakasha sarvasha yogamaya samavrata. So that's reciprocation. But the miracles, the people don't see God. Like Prabhupada was asked sometimes, do you see God? And Prabhupada said the miracle is that you don't see God. Because it's very easy to see God. So anyway, the Upanishad tells us about the nature of the Absolute, the nature of God, and how to approach God, how to interact with him, how to deal in this world. It's a complete, as they say in French, a tour de force, a complete exposition on dealing with God and God's nature. The Upanishad starts out, even the introductory mantra is very interesting, Om Purnamidam, that the supreme absolute truth is perfect and complete. And even though he's perfect and complete and so many perfect and complete things come from him, guess what? He doesn't become less because of that emanation. You understand? If I give something to someone, I have that. I am lesser because of that. If I give you $10, I'm $10 poorer. If Krishna gives you $10, he still has that $10. So, 1 minus 1 is 1. Pretty good mathematics. So, that's the first verse. I mean, just very shortly, we're going over one or two of the verses before we get to this 18th verse, which is the last verse. And the second verse tells us that everything is owned and controlled by the Supreme Personality. Gadat Isha Vasha Midam Sarvam Yakancha Jagatam Jagat Tena Jaktena Bunjidha Magradha Kashasvidanam. Everything is owned and controlled by Krishna, and each one of us is given a quota to be used for serving him. So that's the first two verses, or the introduction of the first verse. And then we go through the whole Upanishad describing the nature of God. And then finally, we end up with personal prayers by the devotee as to, how to surrender to God. And this last verse is actually a verse of Atmanivedanam. Atmanivedanam means like complete surrender. Before that, before we reach this last verse, and the last two verses are actually the verses of complete surrender. Like in the 17th verse, there's the prayer of the devotee, hopefully ourselves. Please don't forget anything I did for you. It's almost like my mother used to say to me when she wanted me to become a materialist. When you were young, sorry, just sit more comfortably. She says, when you were young, I did so many things for you. I carried you for so many years in my womb. Now you should listen to me, even though I was 70 years old. So, so something like that with God. We were asking him to remember everything we did for him. You understand the comparison? So, we'll be all right. We'll be all right when we want to be all right, not throughout our lives, but especially when we leave this world, right? What does it mean to be all right when you leave this world? Well, you want to remember God. Because if you remember God when you leave this world, you'll go to a better place. You'll go to the pearly gates. Sorry for that expression. And you'll get to greet Jai and Vijay. That's nice, isn't it? And they'll let you in. And so, in other words, you go to God. And if you don't remember God, then guess what? You'll go to whatever you remember. Yum yum vapi smaran bhavam ajate yajate ante kalevaram. Whatever you remember at the time of leaving this body, that's where you go. So it's quite dangerous. Imagine if you were watching the Avatar movie when you passed away. You'd be in trouble, isn't it? You'd be just like in that, little blue body or something. Or you'd be a Navi. Anyway, sorry about that. Hope no one wants to see the movie after I talk about that. So, so you want to remember Krishna. And the interesting thing is, you want Krishna to remember you because Prabhupada, interestingly enough, in the purport of the last verse, the 17th verse, he tells us that even if somehow or other your life airs are all disturbed when you're leaving the body, which generally happens. I mean, it's not that most people are in very clear consciousness when they're leaving the body. For most of us, it's like you got fever or extreme pain. I mean, you really have to be an absolutely pure devotee to have a clear mind at the time of leaving the body. And we see, of course, our primary example that I use in this particular respect is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, he was basically literally skins and bone. That's it. And any normal person, materialist in this world, would be writhing in pain or taking a lot of pain relief. Just like I've been with people who getting ready to leave their body, and they generally, just to relieve them of the pain, you give them morphine or something like that at the hospice. But Prabhupada wasn't doing any of that. And his mind was perfectly clear, so clear that practically up to the last moments, he was able to dictate his commentaries and purports for his books. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. You can read Prabhupada's last purports, and you'll see, wow, this is someone who had a perfectly clear mind and clear consciousness. And of course, Krishna was using him as an instrument. So, therefore, Prabhupada said, for many of us, we can't do that at the time of death. I think most of us, right? So Prabhupada said that Krishna will remember us. So therefore, the devotee, we're still talking about the 17th mantra, we haven't gotten to the 18th yet. Therefore, the devotee prays Krishna. Remember everything I did. Remember all the artiks I did. Remember I sent my kids to Gurukula. Remember all the prasadam I ate. You make a list like that and present it to Krishna in case he lost his memory. So, of course, Krishna in the Gita says, I know everything past, present, and future. So there's no question of him not remembering. But the devotee is in anxiety. Please remember everything I did for you, just like my mother did for me. So it's really interesting. So this next verse, okay, let's get on to mantra 18. We probably won't finish the verse today, but you're getting a little sample of how we give the classes. We try to explain in a very using common language, the philosophy, so it's very easy for anyone to understand the philosophy. I just put it in terms of modern examples, common language, so that even if you've never read Bhagavad Gita or heard the Krishna conscious philosophy, you'll understand the nature of God. And in all the classes we gave in the Isopanishad, Krishna book, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar Devotion, they're all there on YouTube in different categories. My YouTube channel, Bir Krishna Goswami YouTube channel. So you're welcome. You can learn the philosophy by watching these videos. So let's go on to the 18th verse, which you'll find quite interesting. And I'm just going to read it. Agni Naya Supata Raya Hudsman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yudyol Yasmash Juhuranameno Bhuyishtam Te Nama Uktim Bidema. Okay, scroll down. And the synonyms, which I'm going to read too, are Agni, O my Lord, as powerful as fire. Naya, kindly lead. Supata, by the right path. Raye, for reaching you. Asman, us. Vishwani, all. Deva, O my Lord. Vayunani, actions. Vidvan, the knower. You, Yodi, kindly remove asmat from us. Juhuranam, all hindrances on the path. Ena, all vices. That means vikarmic or, sinful things like intoxication, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex. These are vices. And, why is he asking Krishna to remove all the vices? Because, kamarupene kontiya dushparena lenacha, it's, and also another verse, chanchala himana Krishna pramata balavadridam. The mind is so restless and turbulent that many times we can't keep ourselves from doing something. As they say in Christianity, the devil made me do it. Of course, we say, Maya made me do it. It's not my fault. It's not my fault I did that. It's just Maya, so strong, Krishna says. The one time, there was a king who asked the great sage, why is Maya so strong? And the great sage, instead of saying anything, he ran up to the pillar. It was an old palace. He ran up to the pillar and embraced it and said, let me go, let me go, let me go. So in other words, Maya is strong, but we're letting her take hold of ourselves. It's like, yes, like if someone shouldn't fish, of course. But, obviously if someone has a strong line and they catch a fish and the fish bites the hook, because there was a worm there or something. Yes, the line is very strong, the hook is very strong, but you bit it. So, of course, fish don't have the ability. The difference between fish and us is that we have the ability to say no to the hook. If you're a human being, that's the difference. A fish has no ability. Fish can't think, there must be a human being up there. This is too good to be true. A worm just standing there. And there was to illustrate this similar point, and there was a man walking on the beach. As he was walking on the beach, he saw a very nice sandwich. He grabbed the sandwich and started to eat it. I guess it was packaged nicely or something. And inside the sandwich was a hook. And there was a fish in the water just reeling him in. He got pulled into the water. So you understand. So we're biting the hook. And as a human being, we know there's a hook there. But you're the one who bit it. The fish isn't responsible. We're responsible for biting the hook. So anyway, so that's why we're asking Krishna to help us get the strength to deal with all these vices, or biting the hook. Bhuyishtam, most numerous, te unto you, nama, uktim, words of obedience, videma, I do. And here's the prayer. It's a really wonderful prayer. Oh my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, means all powerful, now I offer you all obeisances falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. Since you know all that I've done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. Now, what the devotee is asking right here is that not that Krishna will force him to act the right way, but Krishna will give him the intelligence. That's why he says, please lead me. As we find in 15:15 in the Gita, Krishna says, Matakshmritir Jnanamaponam cha, that I'm giving intelligence, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So one has to choose to be led by Krishna. And if one chooses to be led by Krishna, then, famous verse in the Gita again, aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayashyami masucha. Isn't it? Sarvadhamram parityajya mamekam sharanam. Give up all your conceptions of what your duty is. Doesn't mean that people have to take sannyas. It just means whatever you have, whatever you offer, yat karoshi yadashnashi yajahoshi dadashiyat. Then you just do it as an offering to Krishna. Whether you have opulence or don't have opulence, just do it as an offering to Krishna. That's all. That's surrender. And then engage in the process of sadhana, cultivating your love for Krishna. Not only do it for Krishna, but do it for Krishna with love, great happiness, love, gratefulness. And in this way, you'll be freed from any karma. Isn't that nice? I mean, whatever you've done in the past, doesn't matter. There's many examples of that, of course. We have the example of Jogai and Madai, who were so heinous, that means bad, simple language, that Yamaraj couldn't even keep up with the information of what they had done during their lives. Yamaraj has a computer operator named Chitragupta. And he later on commented, fill a bottomless pit, all the floppy disks. Or all the, they don't use floppy disks anymore. What are these, microchips? Or anyway, or even the cloud. Nowadays, the cloud. So anyway, they were just amazed. So what happened is they were so sinful, and because they got Lord Chaitanya's mercy and Lord Nityananda's mercy and surrendered, then they became great pure devotees. Other stories of, a prostitute and Haridas Thakur became a great devotee. And of course, the famous story from the Bhagavatam is Magrari the hunter. Magrari was a hunter who was half killing animals. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, even nowadays, it's probably illegal to half kill animals. So he was half killing animals, and he met Narada Muni, and Narada Muni showed him, what his karma was going to be. He was going to be eaten by those same animals, or killed or half killed by those same animals. And he changed his whole life and became a great saint. He and his wife became great saints. So you see this, aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayashyami masucha. And we have the benediction, dina hina yata chilo harinam udarilo, that if we chant the holy names, that does it. And of course, as they say, sin no more. Sin no more. So we chant the holy names, and that does it, and then we have no more bad karma. And then we become happy. Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritas vadanam. And then our happiness increases at each step. Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritas vadanam. Isn't that nice? Your happiness never is static on the spiritual plane. On the material plane, your happiness reaches a peak. It's like a sine wave. Anyone know what a sine wave is? It goes up, it's getting better, it's getting better. Actually, it's more like a sawtooth wave. Sorry about that. I got my physics wrong here. The sawtooth Sawtooth wave goes up and poof, precipitously drops down like that. But Krishna consciousness happiness goes on and on and on and on and on, and you never in Krishna consciousness you just don't get bored. I've been doing the same thing for 51 years. It gets better all the time. I'm having a great time. It's such a good time. It should be illegal. I should get arrested for having a good time. So, so it's true. So we'll read some of Prabhupada's purport, and then we'll take a few more minutes. And because I know there's a presentation about book distribution, we don't want to go on too long. But it's like I said, this is all filled with nectar. This book, I mean, every book of the Acharyas is filled with nectar. I'm not sure which book we're going to go on to next. We usually take votes of everybody, and then I just ignore the votes and do what I want. But whatever book. Anyway, so it pays to be in control of the computer. Anyway, so purport, Srila Prabhupada's purport, and Srila Prabhupada's purports are just like he really elaborates and just brings out different points in the verse. And sometimes they're repetitive, but that's so we can understand these things properly. By surrendering to the Lord and praying for his causeless mercy, the devotee can progress on the path of complete self-realization. So remember what Prabhupada said? He said, by surrendering to the Lord. Surrendering is actually quite easy. It's not like having your arm twisted behind your back and someone says, say, uncle. Not exactly like that. It's just out of love. That's what surrender. Even the word surrender is a little frightening. Like even I know in the Western world, if you say spiritual master, ooh. So I don't use that word very often. I just say Guru Maharaj. That's more appealing for people because as soon as you say master, then all these images of slavery and everything come to people's minds. So you have to say spiritual leader, preceptor, acharya, guru, like that. These are all politically correct words. But so even surrender, I would say by loving the Lord and trying to please him out of love, doing what he wants, and praying for his causes of mercy, the devotee can progress on the path of complete realization. Because if you just do it involuntarily, like if you're in some temple and the temple leader says, surrender or you don't eat today, that's not surrender. That's not devotional service. I remember sometimes in the beginning, sometimes people were a little fanatic. They would say, dance during Mangalarati. Dance, like one of those Westerners, be a dance partner. There's no benefit of that. You have to do things voluntarily from your heart. So that's what it means by surrender. You just realize it's in your interest to serve Krishna. Because Krishna will give you everything. To shanti cha ramanti cha. You become satisfied and you become happy. The Lord is addressed as fire because he can burn anything into ashes, including the sins of the surrendered soul. I mean, whatever you've done before, you don't. That's why we don't consider varnashram so important. What sort of family one is born in. Because if you keep a viprakivanyashi shudakena noye, Krishna tattva veta se guru hoy. And we don't look at someone who is actually serving God in terms of their family, their nationality, or anything like that. I mean, because they're all spirit souls, we understand that. But because they're all dear to God and everyone's equal. It's true equality. We talk about equality. We want everyone to be equal to everyone else. That's the way to do it on the spiritual platform. Material platform, there may be some difference. I mean, I can do certain things perhaps better than you can. You can do certain things better than me, right? I'm not good at playing basketball. Not at my age anymore. So, I mean, certain things I'm just really bad at. So there's inequality on that platform. But on the spiritual platform, we see everybody equally. And so, uh, anyway, so that's what it means to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not only to surrender to Him, but to see everyone on the same equal platform. So He can burn anything to ashes, including the sins of the surrendered soul. As described in the previous mantras, the word mantra means to free the mind. The real or ultimate aspect of the Absolute is His feature as the personality of Godhead, and His impersonal Brahmajyoti feature is in a dazzling covering over His face. That's one of the previous mantras. God has three aspects: the impersonal light. You see the light. Just like in one of my previous classes, I was talking about there was a bogus sadhu who made his disciples see the light. It wasn't actually the Brahmajyoti. What he did is he knew which nerve to touch near the eye. It was a big group, actually a very big group during the 1960s and 1970s. And they would have a flash and then collapse. And they said, Guru Maharaj had me see the light. Of course, what they didn't realize was when they collapsed, he reached into their wallet. But that's another subject, but literally or figuratively. So but anyway, the real light realization is called the Brahmajyoti, which is the effulgence on God, around God, and not a devotee, but an impersonalist can apparently merge into it. Doesn't actually merge, but it's as if he merges into it. So he realizes the Sat aspect of the Absolute, which is the eternal aspect. And then the next highest aspect is the Paramatma aspect, which is God in everyone's heart. And the final aspect is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So God has or the Absolute Truth has all these different aspects, and the highest is, of course, the personality. Prabhupada compares that, and the Vedas compare that to the sun and the sunshine, or the resident of the sun and the sun globe, and then the sunshine. So anyway, so the devotee, he doesn't want his vision covered by this bright light. Sometimes it's a very bright light and you can't see anything because everything is so bright. I don't know if you've ever gone outside after you've been inside and your eyes aren't adjusted to the light. You just can't see anything. Oh my God, I hope my eyes adjust real quickly or else I'm in trouble. Or if you drive in a car sometimes and someone has the brights on, it's very frustrating. So it's like God has the brights on. You understand? And you're trying to see him, and you say, turn the brights down. So there's a previous prayer where Haranya Mayena Patrena, my dear Lord, please remove this dazzling effulgence around you, because I want to see your face. I want to see your beauty. I want to understand the nature of your nature, which is full of bliss, rather than just the eternal nature. So fruit of activities or karma kanda path, fruit of activities or the karma kanda path of self-realization is the lowest stage in this endeavor. That means just trying to follow some Vedic injunctions to elevate yourself gradually and sometimes even go to the heavenly planets. As soon as such activities even slightly deviate from the regulated principles of the Vedas, they are transformed into vikarma, or acts against the interests of the actor. In other words, if you're trying to follow these little tiny rules in the Vedic literatures for material upliftment or preliminary spiritual rules, you could make a little mistake and you're in trouble. Like one of my friends, his name was King Nriga. He was really good at following the rules and regulations, but by accident he gave away a cow twice to Brahmins. And all of a sudden, there he was as a tiki-tiki. You know what a tiki-tiki is? Those of you from India? I'll explain what it is for those who are not from India. These are the little lizards that everywhere in India, isn't it? And there's a superstition that if you say something, and if the tiki-tiki goes what? Tiki-tiki. Then that is the truth, right? Krishna is God. Tiki, tiki. So So he became a lizard and he had to be saved by Krishna. So there's danger on that royal path. But with chanting the holy names and becoming a devotee, even if one slips a little by accident, not on purpose, don't use that against devotional service. So if one slips by, then Krishna says, my devotee is considered saintly in spite of the most uh, devious or sinful activity because he's on the right path. He'll quickly attain the right destination. Krishna doesn't forget. Swapam yasha dharma shatrayate mahatobayat. There's no diminution from one lifetime to another. Even if you slip a little bit, one moment of Krishna consciousness is more valuable than a long life without Krishna consciousness. 1 second of Krishna, even the rest of the time, you're just a rascal the rest of your life. Isn't it? Because a long life without Krishna consciousness is described like the bellows. It's breathing with no consciousness. So that's Krishna consciousness and the benefit of Krishna consciousness. So we're going to end here, but I just want to give you a little sample. We're going to end here tonight, and we can take 1 or 2 questions. I'm not going to take questions online, just questions from you all here. And then we'll have the Sankirtan scores. So you see how much information is there in Prabhupada's purports and in the verses here. So it's really important. That's why Prabhupada spent a lot of time unpacking this information. So anyone have any questions? No? Yes. That's interesting. And Prabhupada would quote other Upanishads, like the Shvetashvatara Upanishads, but he didn't translate that. And other other Upanishads he would quote, but he never translated any other Upanishad as far as my knowledge is concerned. Because this Upanishad deals directly with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, I describe what the Upanishads are, but they're actually philosophical works. And many of them deal with the nature of the material world and other subject matters that really are not directly connected with Krishna. So, therefore, Prabhupada wanted to pick the most directly connected Upanishad. And that's why Prabhupada picked it. Okay? It's most directly connected. So, of course, I didn't ask Prabhupada that question. But that's my assumption because it's God, the God Upanishad, Ishopanishad. Right? And of course, there's many other verses from the Upanishads, not the Ishopanishad, like Nitya Nityanam Chaitananti Echananam Eko Bohanam Yovadadati Kamam. There's one supreme eternal, and there's many plural eternals, and the supreme eternal is maintaining the plural eternals, etc., like that. So Prabhupada, he did pull at random from other Upanishads. And also he was following in footsteps or example of his spiritual master who considered the Ishopanishad, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who considered the Ishopanishad to be the most important of all the Upanishads. And the Vedanta Sutra, incidentally, which is one of the other Vedic literatures, is a direct commentary on the Upanishads. Like you can take different verses in the Vedanta Sutra and they correspond with specific verses in the Upanishads. But that's a subject matter that's probably not for the Sunday program. So, any other quick questions? Yes, Adityanarayan Prabhu. Yeah. And 17 was more directed towards that, right? Well, it's still humility because one is thinking most of my life was really bad, but I did a few good things in my life. So there's still humility there, my whole life, if I thought my whole life was filled with good things, I would just say, remember my life, Krishna. Instead, remember, the few little things I did, you in this life, even though the rest of it was a big mess. So that's, and the devotee's humble. And he's scared. He's scared. He's scared of forgetting Krishna. Prabhupada said we can be scared of one thing, scared of illusion or forgetting Krishna. I mean, Prabhupada was not scared of anything in this world. His name was, of course, Abhay Charanaravinda. He was free of fear, having taken shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. But Prabhupada was asked one time, and of course, Prabhupada was honest. Prabhupada was asked, what are you praying for? Prabhupada said, I'm praying to not fall into Maya. Not that Prabhupada wouldn't fall into Maya. I mean, he's an absolutely pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that's the abject humility of a devotee. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, the more Krishna conscious you get, the more humble you get. Churnadapi suniche na tororipa sahishnuna. More tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, ready to offer all respects to others. So that's the humility of a devotee. Because the devotee is aware that he's done something in his life of Krishna. I mean, I know I've eaten prasadam a few times. How many times? Twice a day, at least twice, for 51 years. How many times have I eaten prasadam? Honored prasadam. How many times? Can someone do a quick mathematical calculation? 51 times 360 times 2. That's pretty easy. That's a lot of broccoli. Okay. So I think we should take some announcements from Aditya Narayan Peru. Is that all right? All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai, Sri Upanishad Ki Jai. And again, if you want to give your WhatsApp information to Aditya Narayan Prabhu or Leela Shakti Pravi, then please do so if you want to be notified of when these classes are every evening while I'm in the United States. Of course, I'm going to be going to India in February, so I won't be doing the classes while I'm in India. But while I'm in the United States, I do the classes. Okay. You ready? Okay. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Do you need the computer? Okay, I'll give it to you. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for such a wonderful, enlightening class with so many humorous statements. Let's give a big round of applause and a big Hari Bol to Maharaj. Hari Bol!
Ki Jai.
Such wonderful verses, such nectarian words of wisdom that we get to hear from Maharaj every week. What a great class. So while Prabhu's setting up, sorry, Prabhu. So while Prabhu's setting up the presentation, I wanted to mention that we have 6 birthdays that we are celebrating this week. This is a birthday blessing seva for those of you who may not have heard it yet. We have this birthday blessing seva where you get to sign up yourself, your children, your families for birthday blessings. We'll have your birthday, the devotees whose birthday falls in that week, will have it printed, and a copy of this sheet is placed on the altar. And so this week we have our senior priest, His Grace Khardama Muni Prabhu. He has prayed for the devotees whose birthday falls in this week, and he has prayed to Lord Nrsimhadev for their protection. He has prayed to Panchatattva for their devotion, and he has prayed to Sri Sri Radha Golokananda for their overall spiritual welfare. So this is the birthday blessing seva, and this week we have 6 devotees. We have Vedavarshini Palamkota, Narsingha Walsh, Abhinav Mishra, Advait Maheshwaram, Krishav Kumar, and Debarpita Bhattacharya. If any of you are here, please stand up. Is Abhinav Prabhu here? I think he was, yeah. It's okay. So these are the devotees whose birthday we are celebrating this week. Let us all come together and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for all of these devotees for their overall spiritual well-being. Please join me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if you have not already done so, if I may encourage you, if you would like to sign up for the Birthday Blessing Seva so that your family's birthday also appears on this list and that we pray for them, there is a QR code at the bottom right of this sheet, and this is raised right here on the table. Go ahead and scan that QR code. All you have to do is open up your camera app, point it to the QR code, a form pops up, fill it in, submit it, and boom, you're in the system. And in the week when there is a birthday, the birthday name gets printed on this sheet. So I would encourage you to please do that. Thank you all very much. We will now turn it over to Aditya Prabhu for the Sankirtan scores. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So a few quick announcements before we go to the scores. First of all, we'd like to thank the devotee who sponsored the feast today, the Sunday feast. So today's Sunday feast is sponsored by Lakshmi D. Pashu Puleti. Are you here? No. Okay. Very well. So let's pray for them and their family, and we'd like to express our gratitude to them for sponsoring the feast. Let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Also, we'd like to thank all the devotees who actually prepared the feast today for the offering of their Lordship, Srila Prabhupada, and all the Vaishnavas. We have Ajay Govinda Prabhu, Kirtana Sundari Mataji, Varshana Priya Mataji, Savita Mataji, Naina Mataji, Srivalli Mataji, Parikshit Priya Prabhu, Akash Prabhu, Madhukar Prabhu, Anamika Mataji, Anchal Mataji, and Gopika Mataji. Riva! Such a wonderful big team, and it's always so nice everyone coming together and serving in the kitchen. You know, that service actually increases our faith, devotion, and it's so nice to serve together. So if anyone of you would like to join in the Seva, Sunday Feast Cooking Seva, we have different teams. You can contact me and we can connect you with one of the team leads. Okay. Also, we'd like to request prayers for Mother Urmila's grandson. His name is Chakra. So he had an accident, and I think many of you know his updates are being posted on the group, and he's in a serious condition. So we request everyone kindly let's chant the Mahamantra, offer prayers for his recovery and well-being. So let's chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Also coming up, now we have all the Gauranga Mahaprabhu festival time. So just Haribol! So starting this coming Friday is the appearance day of Srila Advait Acharya. Srila Advait Acharya ki! So on Friday in the evening at 5 p.m. we'll have His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He'll be giving the class online on his regular time. And then after there are different Bhakti Vrish groups, so you'll have a celebration in the group. So we are not doing a evening program in the temple, but the class won't be in the temple also. So please join online 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the class by Maharaj. And after that, local Bhakti Vrish groups will have some celebration. Okay. So that's Advaita Acharya this Friday. And then on 2nd of February is the appearance day of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki! All these festivals of Gauranga, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, they are like one of the most blissful, ecstatic days of the year. So this year, Nityananda Trayodashi is on a Thursday evening. So we'll have a wonderful festival here. Please mark your calendar. 2nd of February, Thursday evening, we'll be starting at 4:30 p.m. His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj will be giving the class right here in the temple room. We'll have a wonderful Abhishek ceremony and then some cultural program and wonderful prasadam feast. So if you'd like to obtain the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu by sponsoring any aspect of this festival, we have the Abhishek and the Artik sponsorship for $108. We have the feast sponsorship for $301, and the flowers for the festival for $251. If you'd like to sponsor anything for Nityananda Triyodashi, please let me know. And one last announcement before we go to the presentation is we sent out a message on our New Goloka group about a hermeneutics course. This is actually a course which is developed by Mother Urmila and the other members of our Shastrik Advisory Council, which is our entire ISKCON SA SAC group. So we are just seeing that how much interest is there in the community. And this is actually a wonderful course. You know, it actually helps us how to dive deep into understanding Srila Prabhupada's books, statements, and how to actually create that culture of discussing different purports and different statements. And so it's a very wonderful course. If you are interested, please let me know. We can at least just add you to the group, and then we'll have a discussion of how many people are there, what time works for you, and so on. Just to let you know, it's 8 classes, 90 minutes each. Okay. So we'll have more details, but right now we are just seeing if there's an interest in the community. We need minimum 20 people to actually start the class. Okay. Okay. So perfect timing. So let's have the presentation. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are making this offering at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Bhikti Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavas, all the books that we distributed in 2022, and then we'll have goals for 2023. Okay. First of all, we would offer our respectful obeisances to His Holiness Bhikti Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He is our inspiration. It is only by his blessings and his arrangement that we are here in New Goloka Dham, and we have this opportunity to distribute books. So let's we have big Haribol to His Holiness Bhikti Krishna Goswami Maharaj before starting. Haribol! Also, we like to offer our obeisances to at the lotus feet of His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. He is actually the one who came here in 2011. So it's been almost 12 years now. He came here and he inspired us to actually, you know, grow our book distribution, and his seminars and classes are constant inspiration for us to actually increase our book distribution. So we offer our obeisances at his lotus feet, and all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who are our examples, who are our inspiration, by whose blessings we are actually engaged in this seva. So I have just starting off, I have 3 quick quotes, you know, just to how Prabhupada emphasized this seva of book distribution. So this is one from a Srimad Bhagavatam class where Prabhupada is saying, every word is for the good of the human society. Every word, each and every word. Therefore, we stress so much in book distribution. Somehow or other, if the book goes in one hand, he will be benefited. At least he will see, oh, they have taken so much prize. Let me see what is there. If he reads one shloka, his life will be successful. If one shloka, one word, this is such nice things. Therefore, we are stressing so much. Please distribute book, distribute book, distribute book. A greater mridanga. We are chanting, we are playing our mridanga. It is heard within this room or little more. But this mridanga will go home to home, country to country, community to community. This mridanga. So this is one of the class. So Srila Prabhupada, he actually emphasized a lot on distribution of these books, you know, and how we read in Bhagavatam, Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo, that this actually, the books that Srila Prabhupada has given us is actually nothing of this material creation. It's actually a totally different creation. It is directly the spiritual words, the spiritual potency, right? That's why Srila Prabhupada had that deep faith in the power of these books, you know, and that's why in this, he's actually saying that even one word they actually read, they are coming in touch with spiritual sound vibration. They are coming in touch with Krishna. How powerful are Srila Prabhupada's books, right? Just by touching them, reading one word, someone's spiritual journey starts. That is the potency of Srila Prabhupada's books. Okay? One more quote. Go on spreading the Sankirtan movement more and more. I am only one person, but because all of you have kindly cooperated with me, this movement has now become a success all over the world. Be assured there is no more direct way to preach than to distribute Krishna conscious books. Whoever gets a book is benefited. If he reads the book, he's benefited still more. And if he gives the book to someone else for reading, both he and the other person is benefited. Even one does not read the book but simply holds it and sees it, he is benefited. If he simply gives small donation towards the work of Krishna consciousness, he is benefited. And anyone who distributes these transcendental literatures, he is also benefited. Right? So we see again and again Prabhupada stressing on this point. Just to share a quick story that I heard, this is in London. A group of devotees were actually going town to distribute books. Right? And they came to one town where there were not so many people. So the Sankirtan van stopped at that place, and devotees got down and they were thinking like, is this really a good place for us? There are like so few people. Maybe we should just change our location. But they said, maybe it's Krishna's arrangement, we are here. Let's just go out and let's try. Right? And they were going down Sankirtan, down the street. And this one man, not Indian, just, a man from UK, he comes to them and says like, oh, I know this mantra. And they said like, how do you know this mantra? He said, I just finished my 16 rounds of chanting Hare Krishna. And then they naturally asked, so which temple are you connected with? Which devotees do you know? He said, I have never met devotees before. I have not gone to any temple. They're like, how come you're chanting 16 rounds? Without meeting a devotee, without going to a temple, 16 rounds of chanting? He said, just last month, my friend gave me this book, Chant and Be Happy. And in that, Prabhupada says that we should chant 16 rounds. And he actually made his own beats. So it was all like plastic beats, 108, and he was doing 16 rounds just by receiving one book. That's why Prabhupada said, it is too late. It is too late. The books have already gone out. He said, even if something happens to this movement, because the books are out there, a person will read it and everything can be revived from the scratch. That is the potency of Srila Prabhupada's books. And that's why the seva of distributing Srila Prabhupada's books is so dear to Srila Prabhupada. And he said like, increase book distribution, and that increases my pleasure. Right? One last quote and then we'll go on to the scores. So this is a conversation, Prabhupada. One devotee asked Prabhupada, if we die on Sankirtan, will we go back home, back to Godhead? Right? And then Prabhupada said, well, whatever state, in the state of mind, or whatever state the mind is at the time of death, that state you will attain, right? Yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam. If you think of Krishna, you die on Sankirtan, you go back to Godhead. If you don't think of him, then may not. So everyone in the room, they were like, there were Sankirtan devotees there. They were hoping that Prabhupada would, encourage them more. So they hadn't gotten what they wanted. Then Prabhupada said, but I promise you this. If you distribute my books until your dying day, Lord Chaitanya will personally come and take you back home, back to Godhead. Haribo! So each book, Srila Prabhupada's books, is actually, we say a time bomb. Anyone who receives it, his life is transformed. And so many stories, like, one last story and then we'll go to the score is, just here, this was a couple of years back, we do these parades. We had a St. Patrick's Day parade where we distribute Chant and Be Happies to the crowd. And then just a month after that, we had the Spring Days Festival in Cary. Right? So we had a book table, and one lady came with a stroller, and I think she had maybe a 3-year-old, child on the stroller, and she was just coming. And, I was going to approach her, but I saw that baby had Chant and Be Happy. And I immediately asked, how did you get this book? And then she said, well, we were at this parade, and she somehow couldn't remember which parade. And she said, we were at this parade and we got this. And somehow when we got this book, I didn't read it, but this child is so attracted that wherever he goes, he always carries the book. Can you imagine? From some previous lifetime, he has a connection, and wherever he's going, he's carrying a Chant and Be Happy. Yeah. He's one of the future book distributors. Always carry a book, right? So But you see the potency, right? Just American child, attached to Srila Prabhupada's books. So powerful. Okay. Maybe we can go back. So we'll make our offering. So I thought this time we'll make our offering by just reading a letter to Srila Prabhupada. So this is a letter to Srila Prabhupada. We'll be offering our scores. So everyone can, you can a little bit look at Srila Prabhupada because there's an offering. We all are doing this offering together. Everyone is a part of this offering, right? So we are making this offering at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our most humble obeisances. All glories to you. All glories to you. On behalf of the new Goloka team, we would like to make a small offering at your lotus feet. The first point, Srila Prabhupada, is that this offering is actually made by the entire team. There were so many devotees in the community who were involved in many different ways, distributing one book, sponsoring different books, going out on Sankirtan, reaching out to their neighbors, reaching out to their community. So this is an offering on behalf of the entire team. A few highlights of this offering, of the offering of the book scores in 2022 is, the first one is the Bhadra campaign. So in this Bhadra campaign, we actually tried to distribute Srimad Bhagavatams all around the world. So this year, 2022, we actually set a goal of distributing 75 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada, for your pleasure and by your mercy, we actually distributed in 2022 for Bhadra Purnima 92 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. Also in the month of December, we had this Live to Give campaign, which is a worldwide campaign where we distribute Bhagavad Gitas. So again in 2022, we set a goal of distributing 1008 Bhagavad Gitas. And again, Srila Prabhupada, by your mercy and for your pleasure, we distributed for this Live to Give campaign 1749 Bhagavad Gitas. And on Janmashtami, which is we had a wonderful turnout of more than 5,000 people. That day we set a record by distributing 19 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. Also, we had in month of December 3 parades where we actually went out with Jagannath Rath Yatra, and we had the holy name and lots of books were distributed. Thousands of people got an opportunity to hear the holy name. So those were few highlights of the year. And also Srila Prabhupada, these are the scores for the entire year. So for 2022, the number of Maha big books that were distributed, as Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book, is 4,802 books. The number of sets, this is Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, is 148 sets of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the total number of books, all inclusive, is 15,189 with a Lakshmi point of 54,451. Srila Prabhupada, we beg you kindly be pleased with this small offering at your lotus feet, and we would like to express our gratitude. That is only by your mercy that you gave us this opportunity to be engaged in this seva. Srila Prabhupada, we confess that compared to the previous years, we could not achieve our 10% increase. In certain areas, we did not even match our previous year's score. So hence this year, we are actually praying for your blessings and your empowerment that we can grow in our book distribution scores. And we have approximately made a goal of around 20% increase in every area of book distribution. And also one of the goals for this year, Srila Prabhupada, is we want to revive our monthly Sankirtan festival, where every month we actually go out, both in the Cary area and also in the Greensboro area. Srila Prabhupada, we pray that you empower every member of this team, that we can increase book distribution, And as you said to Giriraj Swami Maharaj, increase book distribution, increase my pleasure. So we are praying that we can be instruments to increase your pleasure, and please empower each one of us that we can grow in this book distribution seva. Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada, for engaging all of us in this seva. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution ki, His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Okay, so I would like to thank each one of you. Everyone has participated in different ways, distributing books, just going out. Even one book counts. As I said, this is all teamwork. You know, when we do like a global campaign, like we had our global campaign, like 3 million last December, right? I mean, last month, all around the world, 3 million copies of Bhagavad Gita. So India has always like a major share. It's like 2.7 million in India and remaining rest of the world. But if you see here, there's no one main person who's done this. It is everyone. You know, one book counts. You actually placed a book in the library, you placed a book, gave it to a friend, every book counts. This is actually a combined team effort. Okay, so we'll also, with a 20% increase, okay, before I go to the goals, I also want to point out this smart box. So His Grace Gopinath Acharya Prabhu has organized this smart box seva, where different stores have this smart box. It's called a smart box because it has books and also it has a donation thing. Okay, so Prabhu has a sample there for you. So these smart boxes can be placed in different locations. We just talk to the owner and say, is it okay to just place a box? If you see there, right there, that is a sample smart box. Right. Gopinath Acharya Prabhu, would you like to just read the scores?
So for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, we have been able to place around 2,229 books in total in these smart boxes. We have given distributed around 547 Bhagavad Gitas, and since Bhadra Purnima, 79 Bhagavad Gitas, and total donations we have collected is 1654. So we have around. So many of us, we go to grocery stores to buy our groceries every week. So devotees headed by Venkat Prabhu, we have Shankar Prabhu is not here, Mani Kumar Prabhu, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Ravi Prabhu. So we have around 7 boxes, and these devotees consistently every week they go, and while they're doing their grocery shopping, they're refilling these books every week, taking scores, and collecting Lakshmi. And so we are doing this book distribution with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol. So this is a very nice way to distribute books. You just keep the smart boxes and then the books go. People give donation. Imagine when we started, 2,229 books have been distributed through these 7 smart boxes. Right? It's amazing, right? And so we have got considerable Lakshmi also for all these books. So if you know any store, it could be like a grocery store or any store in your local neighborhood who would be willing to keep the smart box, then please reach out to them. That's how a smart box looks. And then you can actually, the main seva that you need to do is get permission. And then second is every week just stop by to see if any books needs to be taken or if the Lakshmi needs to be taken out of the box. Right? So that's the smart box. Okay. So quickly going through the goals for 2023. So all these areas, it is approximately 20% increase. So we are doing it right here in the front of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavas. We would like to announce our goal for 23. And as I said, it is possible only by the effort of each one of you. Each one of you. If you all come together, then we can reach this goal. So we have this goal of Maha Big Books, 6,000 Maha Big Books for 23. Sets, 175 sets of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Total books, 20,108. and Lakshmi points, 75,000 Lakshmi points. So this is our goal. And also our goal is to revive our monthly Sankirtan festival and inspire more devotees to join in book distribution seva. Right? So everyone at this point, please look at the scores. We have this seva for this entire year. Please pray, right? Pray to Srila Prabhupada, pray to Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas that we receive the empowerment and we can actually reach and smash these goals. Okay? Haribol. So we like to offer a prayer at this time to Srila Prabhupada and also to Maharaj that they bless us that we can actually achieve this score now. So we'll say Prabhupada Pranam Mantra and then we'll offer obeisance to Maharaj. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. We're praying to Srila Prabhupada. He engages us, empower us to actually smash this goal for 23. So we like to offer our obeisances to His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Vancha kalpa tarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Okay. Just two slides. How can you get involved? So I'm going to start off our first goal for 2023, since the Gauranga festivals are starting, is to distribute 21 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So again, we need help of each one of you. And we have this text, Chaitanya Charitamrita full set in many languages, English, Telugu, Hindi, Gujarati. We have them in multiple languages. So please, if you don't have, take a set. If you already have one, please reach out to your friends and distribute Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this goal is until Gaur Purnima, which is of 6th of March. Right? So we have more than a month. Let's try to smash this goal. Right? That's the first goal of the year. Okay. So quickly, just to mention the different ways that we actually are distributing books so you can get involved. First is door to door. We are going to do monthly Sankirtan festival. That's once a month on Saturday in the afternoon. We are going to go out for 3 hours and then distribute books. So we are requesting everyone at least once a month, commit at least 1 hour to come out and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. That's all we are asking. Please join us for the Sankirtan festival. Second, we have many events. We'll be sending out different messages where we go out and we book a table, we distribute books. Then Harinam Sankirtan, also lots of book distribution. We have Sunday welcome table. We have online book distribution. So Venkat Prabhu is very active with this. So I've asked him if he can, look at more different areas where we can actually distribute books online, call different hospices. So he's willing to coordinate this seva. Then we have the Smart Box Seva, Gopinath Arja Prabhu, you can contact him. Bhadra campaign, Live to Give campaign, and festivals, we need a lot of help with book distribution. So please get involved. And then Motals, placing Bhagavad Gita in Motals. Okay, so how to get involved? First of all, join our team. This seva is so pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, very powerful, purifying seva. Just join our team. And the first way to join our team is just join our WhatsApp group, because that's where all the messages are sent out. So at the welcome table, near the prasadam table, there'll be volunteers there. If you're not on our Team NG, that's what it's called, Team New Goloka WhatsApp group, please join the group. Give your numbers and we'll add you to the group. Right? The second, once a month, commit to join the monthly Sankirtan festival. Make some personal goals. Right? We have 21 sets. We can personally make, okay, I will distribute 3 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Make a goal. When you actually make a goal, we get empowered by Srila Prabhupada to actually fulfill that goal. So you can make goal for sets, or every month you can say, I will distribute 1 box of Bhagavad Gita. Or you could say, I'll distribute 5 books every month. But have a personal goal, because when you have a goal, then the mind is always working. How can I fulfill my goal? How can I fulfill my goal? Okay. Next one is advocate. This is actually, the main point of advocate is speak to others about glories of book distribution. When you are having conversation with your friend, you can talk of the glories of Srila Prabhupada's books. These books are recognized by academic scholars all around the world. So speak about the glories, and particularly those who give classes, like weekly classes or anywhere you're giving classes, tell the devotees on the call importance of book distribution. Because as soon as this word is out, everyone gets encouraged. So please, everyone, advocate the importance of book distribution. Okay? Then preparing prasadam for Sankirtan devotees when we are going out, it's always nice after the book distribution if there's some prasadam is there. So if you'd like to help with that. Help with packing books. We are trying to distribute sets of books this time, so you can help with that. Smart box, online, little free libraries. Okay. So we are extremely grateful to each one of you for all your efforts towards reaching the goals in 2022. And we are requesting all of you to please join our team so that we can smash our goals for 2023. Right? So my humble obeisances to each one of you. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. It's actually, as I said, it's a teamwork. Everyone has contributed, but thank you for the encouragement and inspiration. Okay, so just our final slide. So thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution ki. Okay. Okay, so one announcement is next Saturday, which is just before Nityananda Trayodasi, we are going to have our first monthly Sankirtan of the year. So it is Saturday afternoon. Please join us even for an hour. Just come out with us. We'll be sending out the information. Please join us. We'll go out for the pleasure of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu ki. So coming Saturday, 29th, first monthly Sankirtan festival. Okay. Thank you so much. So just some other practical announcements is I just received a message that everyone after having prasadam, if you can kindly fold up the chairs and put them on the tables before you leave tonight. You know, we have the cleaners coming in tomorrow morning. They clean the whole hall. So you can just fold the table, put it on the chairs. Fold the chairs, put it on the table. Okay, after you have prasadam. And the other announcement is all children 12 years and under, they must be supervised at all times when on the temple property. Right? Okay. And also after prasadam, if since we have a monthly Sankirtan festival this coming Saturday, if you have never done book distribution or if you like to revise your skills of book distribution, we'll have a short training session, you know, on the stage. So you can just come on the stage and we'll just tell how do you distribute books, how do you distribute Bhagavad Gita on its own merit, right? So when you have the training, when you come on Saturday, you're all prepared and we can go right and start distributing books. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Ebo.
महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्राह्मणे वैष्णवे स्वल्प पुण्यावृतं राजन् विश्वासो नैव जायते शरीरार्विद्यजा जोडेन्द्रियत्रये काल जीवे फले विषय सागरे फले विषय सागरे तार मध्य जीवायति लोभमय सुदुर्मति ताके जेठा कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ दयामय करिबारे जिहा जय सप्रसादन दिलो भाई स्वप्रसाद ओसे नामृत पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेमे डाको श्री चैतन्य निताय जय माय जय निताय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद ओ प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhagavat Mahaprasad ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai